If you do not mind, then appreciate my efforts by subscribing to my channel. Thank you very much in advance.
Putin forbade the troops to retreat. That day, he was going to announce the results of the referendum. While the Russian president was holding a solemn ceremony in the Kremlin to annex the occupied territories, Ukrainians surrounded Russian troops in Liman. Panic broke out among the Russians. Colonel General Lapin personally threatened the commanders of the retreating units with a premium pistol. 3 months earlier, he had received a Hero of Russia star from Putin and a golden pistol from Defense Minister Shoigu. Liman stayed in Russia for several minutes. Now we will tell you the details of this phenomenal battle of nerves, weapons, and intellect. A competent military operation is always like a game of chess. If the opponent did not guess the combination in time, then he acts in a narrow corridor of possibilities. His moves are predictable. The Russian army found itself in a similar situation. It all started on September 6th near Kharkov. The width of the front on which the counteroffensive unfolded exceeded 130 miles. Behind the chessboard were General Zaluzhny and General Lapin. Liman became the main prize of this operation. The city of Balakleya became the direction of the main strike of the autumn Ukrainian counteroffensive. After 48 hours, the forward strike group of Ukrainian troops were already near Kupiansk. This is about 65 miles from the old front line. The Russian defense line collapsed. The Russians tried to gain a foothold on the eastern bank of the Oskol River near Kupiansk. From here, the new line of defense was to strep Izium, which was to become a stronghold on the Seversky Donets River. Thus, water barriers could help Russian troops stop the Ukrainian counteroffensive. However, on September 9th, Izium also turned out to be in a squeeze. The Ukrainians did not rush to cross the Oskol River in the Kupiansk region, but struck to the south. As a result, the attackers took over 2 large bridges near Senkovo and Garakovokta. Izium was cut off from Kupiansk and the eastern bank of the Oskol River. Izium is called the key to the Donbas. From this bridgehead, the Russians tried to encircle the largest Ukrainian group in the Donbas, which is located in Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. However, in 3 days, the situation turned in the opposite direction. Izium, stuffed to capacity with Russian soldiers and military equipment, became under the threat of encirclement. But here too, the Ukrainian command did not rush things. The only thing that connected the Izium garrison with the main forces of the Russian army was the road to the city of Liman. Therefore, the Russian-Ukrainian formations left Izium aside and advanced to the road to Liman. The scenario with Kupiansk was repeated. The Ukrainians did not storm the city, but hit from the flank. Refusal to storm cities can already be called a signature maneuver of the Ukrainian General Zaluzhny. The senselessness of the defense of Izium was realized even by ordinary soldiers of the Russian army. The Russians began a disorganized retreat. The order to leave Izium came only the next day when the Ukrainians were already counting the trophies. So the Russian troops hastily rolled back to Liman. If Izium is the key to the Donbass, then Liman is the key to the Lugansk region. The defense of Liman was led by the commander of the Central Military District, Colonel General Alexander Lapin. At his disposal were the formations of the 20th Army, as well as motivated units of the Russian Legion. Russian fanatics and veterans of past wars volunteered to serve in it. Later, mobilized people and a police regiment from Donetsk came to the aid of the Liman group. This seemed not enough, so General Lapin reinforced the grouping with officers of the 3rd Guard Special Forces Brigade of the main intelligence directorate of the headquarters of the Russian Armed Forces. The total number of grouping exceeded 5,000 fighters. Liman prepared for the assault. Liman is surrounded on all sides by large protected forests, where you can hide infantry and equipment. However, Russian troops concentrated on the defense of the city and the villages around it. The Ukrainians, in turn, then applied the tactics that brought them success in this counteroffensive. They did not storm the city. Although there was a great temptation to enter Liman on the backs of the retreating Russian formations. In this case, the city would be taken much faster, but there would have been much more victims. The Ukrainian command decided to save the fighters. The regrouping of the main forces took several days. At this time, the Ukrainian assault group successfully crossed the Seversky Donets near Skanagorsk. The peculiarity of Ukrainian rivers is that the western bank is always higher than the eastern one. Defending the low bank is very difficult. The Ukrainians then moved artillery to take control of the roads from Liman to Kremenaya. Before the start of the encirclement, Ukrainian machines approached the Liman area. For their transportation, several pontoon crossings were built across the Oskol and Seversky Donets rivers. The operation to encircle Liman began. Ukrainian assault groups began to infiltrate through the forest, first close to Liman, and then bypassing the city to the rear of the Russians. Ukrainians usually advance according to the classical scheme. 1. Scouts go first. They identify enemy positions. It can be both observation and contact combat. 2. The coordinates of enemy positions are transmitted to artillerymen of commanders of assault units. 3. If necessary, shelling is carried out. Usually, the Ukrainians carry out artillery preparations not only in the offensive sector, but along the entire front, so that the enemy does not recognize the direction of the attack. 4. After shelling, assault groups break through the defense. These can be small units of 10 to 15 people in pickup trucks. 5. If the resistance is high, then actions 1, 2, and 3 are repeated. 6. The main division comes last. They take control of the liberated zone and clear the territory. Advancing from the north along the Zelenaya Dolina Kolodyansky Arc and from the southeast, bypassing Yampol, the Ukrainians gradually tighten the noose. First, villages were occupied to the north of the Liman and then to the south of the city. Harassing raids by Ukrainian groups along the Liman-Yampol-Belagorovka line complicated the logistics.